Davzia TV here. Today, we'll be recapping Passengers, a 2016 American science fiction romance film directed by Morten Tyldum and written by John Spates. There will be spoilers ahead. The Avalon, a sleeper ship carrying 5,000 colonists and 258 crew members in sleeping pods, is making a 120-year journey from Earth to the planet Homestead II. An asteroid collision ruins the ship 30 years into the journey, despite the fact that it is ostensibly damage-proof, resulting in a malfunction that awakens one passenger, mechanical engineer Jim Preston, 90 years too early. Jim becomes despondent after a year in seclusion, with only an android bartender named Arthur for company, and considers suicide until he spots a lovely young woman named Aurora Lane inside her pod. When Jim watches Aurora's video file, he falls in love with her. After debating the morality of awakening Aurora early for companionship, robbing her of her future life, he awakens her nevertheless, convincing her that her pod had also malfunctioned. Jim begs Arthur to keep the fact that he awoke her a secret until Jim tells her. Aurora tries unsuccessfully to re-enter hibernation, distraught about having to spend the rest of her life on the ship. Aurora, a writer and journalist, accepts the situation and begins writing a book on her experiences. Jim and Aurora gradually become closer over the next year, eventually falling in love. Jim prepares to propose to Aurora, but when Arthur overhears Jim state that the two of them have no secrets, Arthur unwittingly confesses the truth to her. Aurora, distraught, alternates between berating, shunning, and physically attacking Jim. Jim's apologies enrage her, and she avoids all touch with him. Multiple failures occur aboard the starship one after the other, and Gus Mancuso, deck chief officer, is awakened by another pod failure. Despite the computer's refusal to divulge their source, he discovers many malfunctions throughout the ship's systems. If the ship is not fixed, significant system failures will persist, and the mission will fail, perhaps resulting in the deaths of all the hibernating passengers and crew. I'm sure you're enjoying this story, so a simple like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. If you haven't already. Gus tries to fix the spacecraft with the help of Jim and Aurora, but he quickly becomes seriously ill as a result of complications caused by the collapse of his pod's life support. Gus has developed pansystemic necrosis as a result of several failures of his hibernation pod, according to the Autodoc, the ship's automatic medical diagnosis and therapy pod. This gives him only a few hours to live. Gus offers Jim and Aurora his deck chief ID before dying, allowing them to get access to crew-only locations and attempt to repair the ship. A sequence of hull breaches from the asteroid crash 2 years ago are discovered by Jim and Aurora. The computer module in charge of the ship's fusion reactor has been severely damaged, triggering the ship's cascading problems as all other systems redirect computational resources to keep the reactor running. Jim and Aurora fix the damaged module, but the outer vent hatch fails as the computer tries to vent the reactor to stop a runaway plasma reaction. Jim is compelled to spacewalk and vent the plasma from outside the vent tube using the manual hatch controls. Due to a malfunction, Jim must remain within the tube to manually keep the hatch open while Aurora starts the venting from inside the ship. She confesses that she is frightened of losing Jim, whom she still loves, and being alone. Jim uses a door as a shield, but his tether snaps as he is blasted out into space. His oxygen-depleted spacesuit causes him to pass out. Aurora is able to recover a clinically dead Jim from space and resurrect him in the Autodoc, while the Avalon's reactor is restored and operations resume. Following that, Jim discovers that, with Gus' permission, the Autodoc may be used as a makeshift hibernation pod for one person. He can put Aurora back into hibernation for the rest of the journey and provide her the chance to make it to Homestead II and live the life she wants, even if it means being alone again. Aurora chooses to stay awake with Jim, realizing that she would never see him again, completely understanding Jim's thoughts when he woke her up, and he presents her with the ring he had fashioned, which she accepts. The ship's crew is awakened on time, shortly before arriving at Homestead II, 88 years later. They find a gigantic tree, many trailing vines, a lot of flora, flying birds, and a cabin in the ship's great concourse area. Aurora's voiceover is narrating her story, recounting her happy existence on the Avalon with Jim. The end. Thank you for your participation in this community. I hope we were still able to deliver with this story. Let us know what you think of this story. And if you aren't already a part of this family, please subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell to receive videos as soon as they are released and to be eligible to win a variety of prizes from us. Check out the movie that is currently on your screen. It's also a fantastic one. Davzia television. Do it, click it. Do it. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Check out the story that's currently on your screen. it's also a good one. If you aren't already a member of the family, you can subscribe to this channel for more fantastic stories like these. Hey! Thank you for your ongoing support, it is greatly appreciated. We'll see you in the next one. Davzia TV.